Are you able to hear us online?
I am.
You are, okay. I'm not sure who that was. That was Amanda, that you?
Yeah, that was me.
If I turn off. No, okay, all right, so that means the computer mic has to stay on, evidently, so. Unless your guys can fix it, yeah. Well, welcome everybody. This is the Des Moines User Group. And we're in a new space, trying to figure it all out, so. All right, well, we have this hybrid meeting and hopefully you can see the camera as well. We'll show you almost like it's not a fun room. For those of you who get to put it, that goes online, you'll get to see it hopefully soon. We are downtown at ESO is the office space. So let's just kind of run through a few slides now. Stuart is here to speak with us today. He's gonna have the floor soon. And he's awesome. I am so happy that you came, Stuart. I just can't say enough good things about this guy. Literally one of my favorite MVPs. You absolutely are. I always tell people in the group that I don't bring anybody to our user group. I always bring cool people, and so you're in that category. All right, for our announcements, we're going to run through the slides. We'll do that. We'll have an icebreaker. Stuart will take over a little bit later. And ESO has a presentation. And I want you to be thinking about this next piece is we're going to call it office hours. If you've ever participated in a office hours event, you basically get to show up and you toss out an idea or some issue that you're having, a problem that you need to solve. And we work on this approach to figure out how to go about solving it. So in place of the things that's our place of a house done in the past, we're going to try this office hours. So think about a problem that you might be having a real issue in your work. And we'll see if Stuart can answer those questions for you. I'm not sure if you even heard that online since I stepped away from my computer. That was brilliant of me. Yeah, dang. All right. So be thinking about an issue maybe that you'd like to have us help solve for the office hours, and we'll come to that at the end. We'll conclude the online stuff at 1:20, and those here, you're welcome to hang out. Stuart, I think, was going to hang out as long as you want him to hang out, so you can pick his brain and talk to him as much as you'd like. Clarissa and I are your leaders of this group, and that's our information there on the slide. Clarissa actually works here, and she is responsible for this room, which is fantastic. It's so cool. Karen and Joseph, I don't see either one of you here, so those are our nonprofit user group leaders. Feel free to reach out to them. Jerome and Sulab are our developers. And upcoming events that we have. So on the 18th, we are going back to doing some flow training. So the 18th will be our user group where it is the all online. It's not the hybrid event. It's purely there for training purposes. And so we'll be helping you learn some basics of flow. We did a lot of flow stuff last year, so we took a little bit of a breather. And so we want to come back and revisit that on the 18th. On the 6th or the 15th of June, we have project management. We're going to talk about Agile. I've got a speaker coming to us from Meredith that runs all of their Agile stuff. She's going to speak at that event. And then we're going to talk about Salesforce architecture some more on the 20th of July. Our other events are there listed. Different events that are available for you, the customer success trailhead event calendar, the mentorship if you're interested in mentorship, that's available here as well by those links.
I advance the slides for you. So that you're not, because it's really hard to hear you out there.
Is it hard to hear?
Yeah, it's
I like
it's
hear myself like crazy good.
out there, it's like we're at a stadium.
Really? If I talk louder, is that better? I can I feel like I scream when I do this, so that's awful. I think they need me to be in front of the computer am I better without that? Can you hear me now? Really? All right. And online you can still hear me, I assume. So if not, go off camera and
It's worse, you're worse.
worse. Dang. Oh, you know why? That's because I was coming through
It's coming through the speaker.
the laptop. I see. That's probably why it sounds goofy. You're hearing it from the Zoom meeting and from here. All right, upcoming events. I didn't get this updated. So it's, you have the Texas Dreaming that's coming up in May. I'll let you just read it. Can you read it? Okay. We'll go with that. All right, MVP office hours. If you're not a part of MVP office hours, you're gonna get a flavor for what that's like later in our meeting. Those are fantastic sessions. If you ever want free advice from really, really smart people, try to stump them. They're absolutely phenomenal at helping people completely for free. Automation hours is actually taking place in just a few minutes today. And then I'm speaking at automation hours on May 6th, finishing up what they're talking about today, which is Flow. Our Slack user group, if you want to join that. And that's the last slide that I have. It is super hard for me to stand in front of the computer, not move around. I hope that you're hearing still okay online. If not, please message us so that we know what's going on online. Sound is not good when you are in front of the camera. Oh. If I'm back here, is it getting any better?
No.
Can you hear me better? I forgot I can't say names. Yeah. Can you still hear me? I don't have no way of knowing if you can. All right, we're gonna not worry about it. I want to know how many of you are a ranger on Trailhead? If you are a ranger online, can you raise your hand or make what do you call those online? Just raise your hand would be good. Awesome. We've got 3 people there. I have 4 online that I can see that are rangers. Anybody a double ranger? Do I have any double rangers? All right, we have 1. Any chance you might have 3? Just short of 3. Anybody online? You're a double ranger, Matt and Amber? Any chance you're a triple ranger? If you're a triple ranger, put your hand up. If you're not, please lower it online. Wow, Matt and Amber and Chris, you're triple rangers? Any chance one of you are 4? Everybody goes down at 4. Okay. If you had your hand up online and you're a triple ranger, can you send me a direct text message on our Zoom meeting? And I've got a pin that I want to give to you that indicates your status as a triple ranger. For those of you who were double, message me online. And if you were a double in the room, who is my double? That. And then if you are just a ranger, I shouldn't say just, it is an effort to get there. If you're a ranger, also message me on chat. I've got these really cool socks. I don't know if you can see them on my camera. But I will get you a pair of these fun socks if you'd like that. You will need to give me both your name and address. So rangers in the room, there's also, for those in the room, there's a table here that has some swag stuff on it. You're welcome to any of that if you want to take your pick of that stuff as well. I did want to remind everybody, if you are certified, that our spring 23 maintenance stuff is now available to take, so you can keep your certifications up to date. And anybody have any open job opportunities that you'd like to share? If you're online, feel free to unmute and share. Any open jobs? Anybody looking for jobs? And you don't mind the world knowing that you're looking for a job? Everybody's happy. Good. Everybody online? Good. Any new certifications? We had a new, yeah. Platform dev. Excellent. Congratulations. And the VA, yeah, business analyst, awesome. Anybody else new certifications? Adriana, okay, perfect. Thank you. Awesome, fantastic. Anybody attempt a certification and didn't quite get there? And you're not afraid to say? There's no shame in not quite making them. They're not easy. So fantastic. I'm actually working with a Sales Cloud consultant study group right now, trying to help get some more people certified on the Sales Cloud side. So if you are interested in that, all of the videos are on my YouTube channel if you want to check those out. Clarissa, you had an announcement as well. I'll let you take over.
Okay, my turn to be the stadium announcer. Sorry to those of you online, we're having a lot of fun here in person with this. So we have decided to this year try to do a hackathon to help all of our local nonprofits get Salesforce resources that they do not have in-house. So if you are interested in either helping to plan that or participating as a Salesforce resource to do some of the hacking, please let me know and we will get that squared away. I think we're planning to try to actually do it later this fall. So let us know.
Awesome. Anybody interested in that? Yeah, that should be kind of fun. All right. And I see online we had a job opportunity from Siri Shi. So if you have an actual name and you want to let us know and let us know what you're looking for, that'd be great. All right. Is it coming through okay? It is. All right. Perfect. All right. All right, yeah, we'll get technology figured out. It's the joys of a new space. So I apologize for those online and here having trouble hearing me. All right, with that, I'm going to turn this over to Stuart. Stuart, again, I can't say enough good things about this guy. He is from Minneapolis. He runs, is it the Architect User Group? He's a co-lead of the Architect User Group in Minneapolis. I'd love it to maybe sometime take a journey up there for one of their meetings. They're not that far away. And you get to say hi to this awesome dude. I told him earlier, he's one of my favorite MVPs, and he really is. He's just awesome. There's just nothing different or better I can say about him. He's got a little bit that he can introduce about himself.
We're experimenting.
And
If you're online, please hold while we deal with technical difficulties. That's me on my computer. So I muted this computer.
All right. Now you can hear me on the computer. Computer's good. And if we talk this loud, you can still hear us in the room. We get the echo from here. Can we turn off the speaker off of this laptop? Since that's what's join is in the room. Would that work? Check. One, can you hear it? Can you hear us online? Awesome. Okay, cool. Hey, everybody, Stuart is in the house. And we're so excited to have him here. I want to, again, just share, he's awesome. If you can stick around afterwards to meet him, if you didn't get a chance to meet him over lunch, it is well worth your time. Stuart, I'm going to shut up.
You're
Let you take over.
You're awesome.
You need to probably share your,
Yeah.
I won't run away from you yet.
Um,
So you just probably share your screen.
so as Terry mentioned, I am.
Drinking some dirt, you know, I picked up a bug here.
I'm just making
Oh.
stuff up and then they'll figure out who can hear me, who can't.
Was not
I'm
a
a
big
user group
monster.
leader for
So
the
don't worry.
architect group.
I didn't
in,
want you to.
Twin
see
Cities.
it. Sorry.
Formerly, it was with the user group in the Twin Cities, and we had up to 200 people that would show up for meetings. And I would say all sorts of inappropriate things at the user group meeting, and the co-leaders would ask me to please be quiet. So I was hoping that all of this technical difficulty would still remain, because my son and I watch a lot of WWE wrestling. And Triple H is one of these characters that will show up and he'll grab the mic and he'll say, it's good to be here in Iowa. Iowa. Let me ask you, are you ready? I mean, and that something like that would happen. Are you ready? But now all the technical difficulties, except for me hitting the table and knocking everything over, is gone. But I still do all the inappropriate stuff that the music leaders that I work with ask me not to do. Oh yeah, he said, please share your screen. Let's share the screen. Let's not do that.
Or I can connect you with a better mic.
Totally can.
Yeah.
And I can quit all this junk that's gonna get in my way.
Can you hear that better? Does that come through any better? Sounds the same.
Hold on. Where's my? You want me to unmute me? I can unmute me
Is that better, person?
and share the,
Yeah, it's been pretty good.
sorry about all the ice.
Hey,
Now I'm gonna feel really embarrassed the whole time, but that's okay.
just don't- there.
Did you mute? Okay. All right, am I okay? Is everybody okay? I'm okay. All right. What am I talking? Okay, sorry. I already skipped the first slide. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about, since I am now leader of the architect group, I would talk a little bit about architecture. And Salesforce has, you probably already know, Salesforce has this thing called Well Architected. I'm going to deconstruct it a little bit for everyone. And maybe ask the question, a little bit of audience participation here. I'd like to get kind of a count of like admins versus BAs versus like I do everything versus maybe you're an architect. How many people would say they're admins in the room? Nice. How many would be like BA role or product owner role or something like that? Okay. How many would be an architect role? Good. Nice. For the others that didn't raise your hand, what, are developers or? Yeah, good. Is there a role I missed? The everything? I take care of everything? Nice, all right. Hopefully what I talk about will hit everybody. Who I am, so, the things I've got on here, that hit me, the things on here, I guess I want to talk about, the St. Paul Public School. 2016, I got a chance to go to Dreamforce, and I got a chance to meet Mark Benioff, who is the CEO of Salesforce. And I had a chance to ask him a question at a fireside chat. And the question I asked him was about the school district in San Francisco. They just announced that they were adopting the school district of San Francisco. And how was that going? And he didn't answer the question. And he turned around and asked me a specific question. He said, what is the school closest to where you live? And I said, well, I know that. That's Humboldt School. My uncle graduated from there. Other people graduated from there. He said, well, who is the name of the principal at that school? Don't have a clue. He's like, okay, your mission is go to that school, find out the name of the principal, set up a meeting with the principal and find out what are the top 3 needs of that school. He didn't answer the question I had at all. But I took that as a mission. And I said, okay, so I did go home and I met with that school. They did have a technology need. They actually were involved in a STEM program, and the whole St. Paul school district had need for something called CTE, continuing technical education. And I've been on that committee for the last, well, since 2016. And right now I'm on the chair of that board for the committee. I'm going to challenge all of you that your school, your local schools need advisory from outside to help the teachers just know that the industry is out there, that schools need help from the public, from the government, from the schools themselves, and then also from outside industry. So please reach out to your schools and help them. Also, today is a very important day. Today is my 1-year anniversary from my stroke. I had a stroke a year ago, lost the capability of memory, and luckily my wife was with me and took me to the hospital, and I still have moments where I forget words. So during this talk, you might actually recognize that for some reason I'm failing on a word. It will come back. It's all good. But that is something that happens. And so life is an ongoing journey. What is architecture and design? I got this idea from Allison Park, who is an amazing enterprise architect at Salesforce. But these pictures I got a chance to take at Hamburg, Germany, at a place called Miniatureland.
What you got?
If we have no design and architecture,
Yep.
then what we see is a world where there's
Oh, good.
no common good, no organization as far as no rules or standards, no policies for the public. There's no plan around our cities. It's not scalable for our design of our cities or our communities. And what we end up with is cities that are built in silos, areas that get a lot of resources and money and funding to build nice things. And then other parts of the cities and communities that end up not getting those resources and fundings. And it becomes a winners get the spoils sort of effort. The same thing can happen in our Salesforce orgs, where if we don't put in planning and we don't have kind of future looking architecture and design, we can end up in good areas and some that are bad areas. If we don't have standards, then we can end up with poor quality. poor data quality, poor processes, services that don't have good common routes for where integrations happen and where governance happens. And we end up without having any sort of scalability or organization to our orgs. So just to kind of set the table for everyone understanding why we talk about architecture and design in any size of org. I've been reading a lot about just architecture books and building software even outside of Salesforce. And this is a really interesting book. Mark Richards writes a lot of books and gives a lot of free demos and webcasts. And talks about why do we build software? And a lot of it comes down to, well, we're trying to have a competitive advantage over our competitors, over other software companies. And what are those pieces of having a competitive advantage? And those are availability, speed to market, and scalability. And when you talk about what does it take to have speed to market, it's agility. And agility is being deployable, being testable, and having maintainability. These are just the structures of what it takes to have a competitive advantage in software. And these are all architectural components. Why is this important at all? Well, when you look at big software platforms, they all worry about these things. So who are those big software platforms? Those are like Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Platform, Azure. I don't know why I'm stretching my neck to look behind me. This is kind of weird because I've got it right here. I've got it over here. You can look it over here. When you look at these cloud platforms, how do they think about their structure? How do they think about how to get speed to market? How do they talk about their pillars of success or their best practices to their customers? So they talk about in these things. AWS talks about best practices under security, reliability, cost optimization, performance efficiency, sustainability. As you look at the different clouds, they may have different words, but those pillars are basically the same. And if you look at their help and training, and they all are very transparent and provide a lot of help and training, even to non-customers, because I can go out and I can take the Azure training. It's just a normal schlub. I can go through all of their training for free. And I can learn about their security model. I can learn about their cost optimization model. I can learn about how they do performance modeling and testing on the Azure platform. And the way they talk about it is very similar on these different platforms. But they do that so that you can build software on their platforms in a reliable, scalable way. Salesforce has a similar way that they think about their platform. On the Salesforce platform, you can build applications and products. And this is a copy paste, sorry. But you can also see that they use the same words in their well-architected framework. And you also, for free, can go out and learn everything about the well-architected framework. They talk about security, reliability, resilience, adaptability. Is it engaging? Is it simple? And they use different words though here, like easy. Easy, simple are things that the other platforms don't talk about. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to have a talk on easy is that it struck me as why does Salesforce talk about easy? The other platforms don't say easy. And so that struck me as something that's really unusual. as you go through the well-architected framework, stop looking up. And you see easy, they talk about simple, automated, engaging, go down to layers. And then under those layers, it talks about being simple, being readable, maintainable, intentional. Automated, they talk about clear logic, data integrity, and alignment to business value. And then engaging, being streamlined and helpful. And as we look at these more, I know that Terry has probably talked about this over and over again on the automated side of, because I know you've done videos on automation. Automation needs to be clear, needs to have data integrity, needs to be aligned to the business value. And I'm going to go even deeper. When I started to look at how does Amazon Web Services, how does Azure, how does the Google Cloud deconstruct their pillars into the principles, the design, the tools, and the methods, they were able to then talk about how do you use these principles in your daily life. And so we can do the same thing with the Salesforce well-architected principles or the well-architected design. So on this one, it talks about the simple, when they talk about readability, maintainability, and intentional. So this is that simple part of the easy. So the principles here are readability, having design standards and documentation are readability. If you have good design standards and documentation, those help you have a readable architecture. Under maintainability, they talk about using standard versus custom objects, standard versus custom processes, standard versus custom fields. When do you go out of the box of what Salesforce offers? When do you go out of licensing? Sometimes you do. In our organization, householding is one of those things. Salesforce already has something called householding. We decided not to use it. We decided to go out of that licensing, build our own householding object for our own use. And that's fine. That's a design principle that we chose. But there needs to be a architectural principle, a design reason why we do it. You can't just choose to go out of compliance for no reason. For maintainability, we have to look at the capability and functionality. Do we have the ability to add 10 million rows to an object tomorrow? What is the cost of that going to be? Would that add technical debt? That all is part of this capability of that vision of the city plan. What would doing this event change to our city plan tomorrow? And all that then moves into that intentionality of road mapping and governance. So making this change today is going to change our city plan or our CRM plan tomorrow. And what's that roadmap going to look like? What is the governance around it going to look like? And so when we think about that in the pillars that these other platforms talk about, then they say, okay, to do that, the design sort of things need to be that we would have naming conventions, that we would approve design patterns. That means we have a governance team. And that governance team doesn't have to be huge. It could be just 2 people that you make decisions. But you follow patterns. You make those patterns. You make decisions about how you're going to use your system. And then you follow those patterns and you watch for technical debt. Salesforce has all sorts of tools that you can use. And I'll share this slide and all these slides that talk about things like organizational alignment. Even before you start to make changes, there's ways to think about organizational alignment. Is your business aligned with your IT patterns inside of your Salesforce org? And it's a hard question to answer. And we're going through this right now at our organization of when you get requirements, when you see new things in your agile JIRA tickets. Does that JIRA ticket, do you understand what the business goal of that is? They ask you to change pick list fields to something and you look at the changes and you're like, I don't understand it. If you don't understand it, that's a problem. What's the business goal of making those changes? If the organizational alignment, if you don't understand why they're asking for these business changes to be made and you're making them in the IT system, there is now no way to do governance on that. You don't know if the business changes make sense. And so there's ways to identify and define and measure those and to see if those are adding technical debt. Yeah, and a lot of this comes down to, do you have a governance policy? Do you have a COE, a group that is made of both business and IT that's looking at what's the roadmap of your organization? What are you building? Why are you building it? Yep. Yeah. So that's a great question. So the question was, if you're an admin in IT, how do you understand the business process, or how do you get closer to understanding the business needs instead of just being a ticket taker, being more of a thought leader? That is a process at times, and there are little steps, but if possible, it's asking questions to see who asked for this. If there's a way to find out where was the origination of this request, that's always been the struggle for us. Is I see a request came in to add something or to change something, but knowing what was the context of that request and seeing if you can find out the who asked for it and what was the context of that request helps a lot. If there's any way for that admin to get closer to that user to ask those questions. I know that in some orgs there's a lot of tape in the middle of that. But we've been trying to ask those questions even up front in that ServiceNow ticket form of, instead of having to come back and ask those questions, can we automate that to say, ask those types of questions up front when those ticket requests happen? Yeah. We're trying to get tight, keep the teams tighter and closer to the actual users that are working on the systems. Yeah. There's an interesting book called IT Business Partnerships that walks through this whole thing. It's really hard to read, but it's a really good book. Joseph Topinka is the name of the author of that book. I read a lot of books during COVID, and so I can help you find a lot of books that will walk through some of that. All right, I need to move faster on this because we're going to try and do a demonstration. And automated, we talk about how to make things easier in automation. Clear logic, so having, when we talk about clear logic, we're talking about that, again, clearly defined inputs and outputs to your automation. What is the goal of this business process when you're doing automation? A lot of things you should know because Terry's been telling you to do it. Do not use variables when you hard code. Don't hard code variables in your value. Don't hard code values in your variables. Do the opposite, was it? And then other things is you assume that when you create an automation, always assume that it's going to run against large data volumes. Always assume that it's going to get the biggest push on it all the time. Even if you think, oh, this is just a little thing that's going to do this little thing. No, always assume that it's going to have the biggest effort on it. Because that's how you're going to do the testing. You're going to test it as if there's 10 million records on it. And you can never mix system and user context in the same transactions. At an architectural level, when you're building automations, you always think about the KPIs. What is the reason and how do you prioritize? How do you measure this automation? And there's, I'm going to really skip over this slide because what I want you to look at is the links on here of what are the tools that Salesforce gives you to build automation better. And there's a ton of them. But really think about what's the cost benefit of these automations before you start building flow, before you start building triggers. It's not only thinking about what you're building, but think about what's the goal, what's the value? Why are you building it? And then what's the KPI around it? I don't know how to do that. Oh yeah. And then the other part of easy is this whole idea of it's gotta be useful to the user. The user has to use it. So we're building products for humans. If the human can't use it, then don't build it. I struggle with this with my team all the time. No, I can't say it because that's gonna be, I'm gonna get too angry. Don't build help instructions underneath a drop-down box that's going to cover it. Okay? Like simple things like that. So if you're going to build navigation, build forms that are grouped correctly, that are usable. Don't think of the DMV when you're building a form. Build it so that users can enter data once in one place and not have to go to several different screens to enter forms. We are not the DMV. We are Salesforce forms. Think about using the tab button. Not everyone, some people are going to use an iPad. They're not going to use a mouse. So how are they going to navigate the form? Notifications and messages should be helpful. It shouldn't just be you forgot a field. Oh, I forgot a field. So minimize the work on the user. Make the system do the work. Make the user just fill out the information that the user has. Be helpful. I skip over this. Who cares about this? Well, okay. No, skip over it. Skip over it. Who cares about this stuff? You don't care. Yes, let's talk about this. Do I want to dive in more about this other part? Yeah, I want to kill you on this part. I'm gonna kill you on this part. Carl Wiegers, he's great. I love these. I'm gonna show these. Yeah, I'm just gonna drill this into your brains. 4 messages. Read them as if you're my grandma. I love thinking about my grandma, and we bought my grandma. She loved sewing, but she couldn't sew for years. We asked, why are you not sewing? Because my eyes hurt and the needles are too tiny. So we at the Minnesota State Fair, we saw someone selling needles that have extra wide eyes, and you get the thread through the eye. Perfect. Now she's sewing again, and she can actually thread the needle. But just because of a little thing, she couldn't do that. And I think about that with our messages to users inside of MessageBox. Are they clear? Do they stop using the product, to stop adopting the product because it's just confusing? These messages are confusing. This problem ejecting USB attached SCSI mass storage for years annoyed the heck out of me. Okay, close any programs that are using your storage device. What do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do? Try again later. I tried again later. It still doesn't work. What do you want me to do? Did you forget to add an attachment? Did I? You tell me. I don't know. This is the problem with having a stroke. Now I can just say, I had a stroke. I don't know. Please. And then the other thing, people hate me for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. There are accessibility trailheads modules on Trailhead. Take them. Learn about accessibility. Understand why you would put orange color on a red background. Why would you do that? Because half of the males in the world won't see it. We're colorblind. What kind of text are you going to use? And will that text turn into the right language when you go to change that into another language? Is it written at a 5th grade level? When should you use animations? Because I hate the fact that they built this thing. It is awful. It is horrible. And it does not comply with whatever it is, ADA compliance. It is not, this is a scare tactic for someone that has any sort of mental issues. They see that confetti and they turn the computer off. It is not compliant. It's a distraction. Don't turn it on. Don't turn it on. It's a distraction and it makes you lose visual focus, and it's not a professional thing. I just don't like it. Follow Salesforce Lightning Design System when you're building your apps. So that's my soapbox. So then I'll go back to here. And what I would like to do is, hopefully this works. We'll see if this works. We have a workshop thing. We have a interactive thing I'd like to do with those here. And we can also do it with those that are on virtually. This is something that they did in London at the London Architecture Group. And I loved it. And it goes right along with this concept of easy. There is a company called Dream Travel that is not very distant from the company I work for, Thrivent Financial, that has a call center. And at this call center, they take in calls from customers who have plane, car rentals, and hotel travel plans. And they need to deal with them. They need to make travel arrangements. They need to change travel arrangements up. And they need to do it in a very efficient, informative way. This is their, it's hard to read on this form, but that's okay. This is their process right now. And I've got some forms to hand out what I'd like to do is get y'all in teams of some size and have you work out this process and talk through and tell me what's wrong with this process, how you would improve this process in kind of using easy methodology. And then we'll kind of come back and talk about it. That's the hope, at least, Terry. Okay,
Breaking out into groups. You ready for them to go to groups?
I'm ready. I've got,
Do-
I'm
Do
ready.
they know
I'm
what they
ready.
need to do?
Okay. I think so. So in this description up here, it says customers are complaining about long wait times and call centers are overwhelmed. So not only are we having problems on the customer side, but on the call center side. The call centers themselves are overwhelmed and the customers are complaining. But the Dream Travel leaders want to reduce the amount of time the customers spend on the phone and also the complexity that travel agents have. And so we need to understand how to improve this process. And so what I'm asking you is to take, I don't know, how much time do you think we have?
Probably no more than
5 minutes? Take 5 minutes as a group and kind of think through this process and write down what you think you would do in this process to A, make it easier for the customers, and B, make it easier for the call center agents to improve this process and maybe make it quicker, more efficient,
and
better.
then we get back together and talk about it.
And we're gonna get back together and talk about it.
All right, so if you can hear me online, I'm gonna break you into, put you in a breakout room. And so you should have received a chat from Clarissa that has this image, so that you can start looking at it as a group, and then we'll come back together in 5. All right, so you're gonna hand that out, I assume.
Yeah.
I'll let you take it, break it out as you need.
Yeah, and here we are gonna break up into groups. And
Go in by row, maybe.
yeah, maybe by row.
There's smart people. I think they can group up. Can you group up on your own? Yeah, get in a group of 5 or so and call it good.
He's missing. Try to get it
Okay.
fixed.
A lot of people not joining the group.
And if you want me to walk through the process or need any help with any of that, let me know.
We can't see the challenge in the breakout rooms.
I wonder if some of them gave up the hearing too early on.
Yeah.
Thanks for kicking here.
All good.
I can see the Zoom again.
What are you guys doing? Do you have questions? Good. Do you have questions?
No, I think we're just walking through the different boxes.
All right.
Can the entire room do it?
Nope, nope. I just jumped into your room to see how you're doing. Awesome. Very good.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think it's probably gonna take us longer than 5 minutes, so.
All right, I'll get out of your way then.
First two boxes.
All right.
Thanks, Barry. So I think.
Where do the breakout rooms go? Breakout rooms.
Oh. This thing should be done once at the end, so it's done 3 times.
Yes.
Basically, gather the info, get the reservation processing once at the end, receive one confirmation.
Yeah, it's like there's 3 steps here. Getting the first 3 should be just probably 1. And then like I was saying, it's like it asks for flight, for hotel, for transportation, maybe ask right after this, what is that the person is actually looking for? Like maybe just flight. Doesn't need to go through all the rest of the travel information. It's
We'll come back in about a minute. Are you ready?
I'm pushing you to your limits. It's a change.
It is, it's all good.
Remember their limits.
Yeah.
Marissa said that she got pushed to the limits.
Right. Unlike me, have a voice at least that carries. I always feel
Well-
like if I have to talk that loud, I'm yelling at people. It's like, it just drives me crazy.
My son and I have this conversation all the time because he will be shouting. And I'll say, "You're really loud." He's like, "Dad, you're loud." I'm like,
Okay,
okay. So we both have loud voices.
yeah. All right, I think, how do I get back? I think everybody is back now. No, I think I just closed it. I think we have everybody back.
All right, 5 minutes.
No, I think we're ready. I've got them out of the breakout room, so they're back.
Hey. Thank you. I know you're not totally done with the whole process, but we'll stop and kind of talk through. We've got some polling. I'm gonna start way in the back. What kind of thoughts do you have on their process and any major suggestions or findings do you have on the customer and call agent experience?
You'll have to repeat that for those online.
Yep. Awesome. So what they identified was that we're gathering customer information at least 4 times during that process. And we should link the phone number as an identifier. So we have something that goes along the whole process as an identifier throughout. Yeah, I would agree with those statements for sure. How many online groups do we have?
We ended up with 2 groups,
All right.
and we aren't able to hear them, so they'll have to chat.
Oh, okay.
And I have asked them to chat. So
Okay.
far, they're quiet.
Okay, we'll be quiet. So then we'll go with the second group down. And I'll kind of ask the same question with any items on the customer experience that you found to be frustrating that you would have resolved from the customer side. What's information from? Okay, yeah, I like that. So all of these collecting information for the hotel, for the flight, for the transportation, over and over again. Kind of doing that in one step rather than having to go back and recollect and recollect and recollect over and over again. Yeah.
Bobby online said to add the option to join a chat online.
Oh. Yeah, I know this front group asked, can we use other tools and other technology? And it seems like Dream Travel wasn't thinking that way. It was just like, well, if you're having problems, go to the phone call. I'm not sure why they were stuck in that script. So I appreciate that. Any other thoughts? Beyond that first, I think you had that as the first question of, have you tried anything else? What have you tried our website? Yeah. Yeah, I really like that.
So we got Amanda online said, we thought about getting attributes before the caller is online with the rep. Are you an existing customer? If so, an automated process pulls customer data based on your phone number. So phone, yep. Do you need air, hotel, or car rental? Asking that question. Where are you traveling to? Based on these responses, route the caller to the correct call center to help. Ask, or at the end, only this is me reading without my glasses, the small print. So at the end, only one confirmation number, please.
Oh,
Only one confirmation.
only one confirmation instead of confirmation number for the
For each.
hotel, confirmation number for the transportation, confirmation number for the. Yeah, I'm not sure as a customer how I would deal with, hold please for your confirmation number on your flight. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? Okay. And anything else on this, on the team here in the front? Mhm. Yeah, I like that. So information up front, and then while that search is happening, then the customer agent can talk to them about the different script, whatever information they need to give. Yeah. That's great. One of the things I like about this process, at my work, here's where I'm gonna share stuff I'm not supposed to share. What's happening at our work right now is we have customers call in and they want to change their bank account information. But they might have mutual funds, they might have life insurance, they might have banking, they might have credit union. We have different product lines that have different systems, different admin systems that they all line up to. And so they'll call in and say, okay, they called into the life insurance line. Sure, change your bank information here. Oh, I'd also like to change it for the mutual fund. Oh, okay, well, let me transfer you to the mutual fund line. They start all over again. Okay. My name is Stuart. I'd like to change my bank information for the mutual fund line. I also have a credit union account. End up transferring that call 7 times just to change my bank from Wells Fargo to US Bank. That seems ridiculous. And the tech people are like, well, why don't we just have a form or some sort of a ticketing system that just you put it here and then it goes, well, I can't do that because there is governance and legal and whatever. You can't just put bank information, you can't put that information in a form and have it sent to a number of different people. Okay. What we didn't do was this. Can someone sit down and just map out the process of what happens to a customer when they call in so I can understand where the gaps are? Because I really want to walk through this problem from the customer side and from the call center side, and then from like legal side and from everybody's side. What this pointed out to me was, yeah, we could collect all of that information at the beginning, but what happens if you get to step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the flight is no longer available, it's been canceled or it's full or whatever. And then you, I'm sorry, customer, that flight's not available anymore. Well, now it's not that your rental car may still be there, but depending on how you change that flight, that hotel might not be the right hotel, and you might have to change everything. Okay, well, I can't go to Berlin, now I have to go to Hamburg. Okay, well, the hotel in Berlin's not, so, okay, that changes everything. So getting all that information up front might be helpful, but it really might not. So how do you change, how more flexible in that? So I'm not saying that those aren't right answers. It might be right to get all that information up front, but it all kind of depends. And the same thing with the banking change, account numbers information. That until I see this process and have a chance to negotiate and see the conflicts and see where the situations are. And it goes back to the stuff I was talking about with the easy and simple of why does Salesforce talk about easy and simple? Because it talks about understanding the business, getting close to the business. You asked about how do I get close to the business? You sit down, you map out the process. You ask, how are you doing this? How do your customers actually reach you? How do you reach your customers? What are your channels that you talk to your customers? Why do you only talk to your customers on the phone? I don't get it. Why don't you have a website? Why don't you have an SMS channel? Why? I don't understand it. We're not going to do we're not going to do challenge 2, I don't think, but we should walk through it. Challenge 2 then is to take that same concept and talk about it in a flow. We have that flow starts, and instead of a customer calling in, they go to a web form. And they start with their loyalty number. And now we're getting records and we're asking them the same questions. We want to get the trip requirements. What kind of a flight do you need? We're gonna get the flight, and then we're gonna find hotels, and then we're gonna get the hotels. And then we're gonna find, transportation, car transportation, bus transportation, whatever. And then we're going to reserve the flight, hotel, and transportation, and then store that. But if that's the process right now, I'm already seeing problems. And I'm not sure if you're seeing problems. Well. Yeah, I'm assuming they'll get into the thing through some sort of way form, but does anyone see like something that just like shouts out to me as a huge problem here? What's that? It's limited. That is one thing that strikes me like, oh, there's no chance for error here at all. But I'll give you a hint. The ending bothers me. Well, but who's the customer here? What if I'm the customer? How do I know what my flight is? Where's my confirmation number? Like that was the first thing I looked at this and I'm like, so what? So yeah, well, maybe it is. But the create records is outside of the subplot. I'm just like, huh? I'm missing something. Something's odd here. I don't know. So there are errors. Like I'm assuming the errors are going to occur, and there's no error catching. There should be some things out of here that say, if this happens, spit out an error message or ask for more information. Give me a screen that says, congratulations, this, you know, or some confetti. I need confetti here. But yeah, so if we think about what is well architected on the easy side, it's again, clear logic. Planning for scale, transaction handling, error handling, clear prioritization. And maybe having something like this, the keys next to every flow you make or every business process that you look at. Put these things next to your flows and say, if you're to measure it to these considerations, does your flow match up to well architected? And again, I'll leave you with these slides. Here are the considerations for well architected when handling the easy area, and some principles, and then questions you need to ask when you're building things. And again, these aren't laws or rules. If you break them, no one's going to come and handcuff you. But there are things where if you're like transaction handling, does this automation put synchronous data operations into before trigger context or after trigger context? And I'm not even sure I understood that sense, but it's okay. Do data operations follow user security policies? They should. Have KPIs for automations been defined? And come up with more at your organizations, you'll come up with more questions. But think about the principles of what you're building. Do they align to the business? Do they align to what goals you're trying to build? That's it. That's it. Or they're just like shocked. Like,
Might- might be.
I don't understand what he said.
Any questions online from people for Stuart? Any of that didn't make sense? There's a lot of big words in there. And probably as admins, some of those may be new words to us. So it's okay to have questions. If there were pieces there that you think, well, I don't do that as an admin. Is that you? And did it make some
I
sense?
don't, I mean, I don't follow these principles either, and we're at our organization, we are, as architects, we are working to put these principles, and that was one of these slides that I said I'm gonna skip over. At our organization, we are trying to build principles. These are the principles we're trying to build with our team. First one is just focus on user experience. It's easy. And when we talk about it, we are saying that our platforms must be easy to use so that we can maximize training, support, and adoption. It's a pretty generic thing to say. But then when we put that practice in the principle, we're talking about, you know, that fields follow logical groupings, that applications are easy to use. Like then we kind of get down to, well, are you using Salesforce's Lightning design system? Are you making messages at a 5th grade level? Are you using words that people don't understand? Are your error messages clear? Are you using standard field descriptions? Like then we get down to like nitty gritty stuff, but that's all about focusing on user experience. And so we have these 9 principles that when we build things on Salesforce, we follow these 9 principles. We're not going to have 100 principles. We're just going to have 9. But it all comes down to that. We have a plan for what we're building.
And I think that for, this is just Terry's opinion. But as Terry's been in some of your orgs and looked around, and I've worked with a lot of admins. I won't pick on any of you, but these are concepts that we're often thinking about as I look at different Salesforce orgs, and so I guess my challenge to you guys is, especially if you're an admin or a developer in the room, start looking at those tickets and think about those in terms of some of what Stuart said. What is the data volume going to be on this? That's a question I ask almost, it seems like every day when I'm talking to somebody, because it makes a difference in how you're going to design that solution. You could break it pretty darn fast if it's not designed well. I like the simplicity side and the messaging, thinking about the end user and how they're going to use it. I also liked the piece about designing around what the business intent is or the business need is. How many of you know what your company's mission statement is or vision? Yeah, and are the things that you're building aligning with what that business vision is? You know, those are things that I would challenge you to kind of start to think about. When I was in my corporate America days and in some of the leadership meetings, that was something that I always tried to focus people back on. Why are we here? Why is it that we exist as a company? And does that decision that we're just now making, does that really align with what we say we are? You know, you can take and apply that to your Salesforce orgs as well. You know, is this helpful for the mission of what we're trying to do? It's good stuff. It's thinking differently, I think, than what we're used to thinking. And I would encourage you to start maybe considering, not maybe, consider some of these items as you're working through your design. And
If you need any help or have any questions or whatever, send me a message. Find me on LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever.
cool. Thank you, Sue. Thank you. All right, can you hear me now? Am I back to normal online? Can you hear me? All right, cool. All right, Clarissa, you have a presentation that you wanted to do? Okay,
I just have words to say.
all right, come say your words.
Hi, I'm Carissa. In case you didn't know, I work here at ESO. So does Dylan and Abby, who actually leads our team. We are the Enterprise Revenue Systems team, I believe is our technical title, but really we're just a Salesforce team. So ESO actually, not in addition to hosting our meeting today, bought us lunch, which is not an actual Salesforce sponsor because we don't have a tool we integrate into Salesforce. We just have a Salesforce team. But we did want to take a few minutes to talk about ESO. And as Terry just said about knowing your company's mission statement, ESO's mission is actually on the window over there to improve community health and safety through the power of data. So no one is wearing their data shirt, but we do have company shirts with a heart that says data is my love language. So all about data here. I don't know, Dylan, speak, say words.
Yeah, so what ESO actually does is we provide software to firefighters, paramedics, hospitals, and government agencies. So when a firefighter or a paramedic go out on the scene, they're using their iPads or whatever handheld device they have to enter that information. That then connects to other systems and applications that we have that pass it along, eventually goes up to where they're submitting to the state government, and they get grants and funding to get new fire trucks and software and do everything that they need to do to actually help the community. And throughout changes in our applications, we actually are able to improve the vitality rates of the responses. So small things like, hey, I noticed if we include the stroke form, when you see these symptoms, it's and then take these actions, it's improving the outcomes so that they are more likely to live when they get to the hospital or wherever they might be going from there. So literally saving lives with what we do
Yes.
or
Yeah,
contributing
totally.
to
We
that.
contribute to that. We contribute to saving lives.
That
here.
part's not done in Salesforce. That is our own
Yes.
application, but we support our internal users. So everyone here in the office, our sales teams, our support teams, our contracts, finance, all that are using Salesforce to enter their information about our customers. And we're selling through CPQ,
Mhm.
doing all the fun stuff there.
Using a lot of Salesforce stuff.
Yes.
Fearless leader, did you have words you wanted to share?
Yes. Yeah, come over here for the mic
Yeah, you can, so they can hear you online. You gotta be in front of Terry's computer.
and see your face.
Just wanted to let everyone know that we do have a position that will be opening up here probably on Monday for a new Salesforce administrator that will be joining our team under revenue systems team. So it'll be Salesforce and then all the Foundry applications that our team owns as well. So if you're interested, please let me know, or gentleman up there is the recruiter for the position. Let one of us know and we'd be happy to talk through it with you. Or if you know anybody,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. You wanna help
Yeah.
save lives?
If you want to
Join our
help the
team.
community and save lives, come here.
It's incredibly rewarding and fun. And if you consume copious amounts of Monster energy drink or anything else,
Yep.
come into the office here.
Much
Get-
better than financial services.
Oh, snap. Okay, I think was there anything else you wanted to say? Is that the end of our pitch? Great,
Yeah.
short and sweet, we're done. Okay.
All right, very good. Thank you. I did not know you guys provided our lunch. Thank you for that. Very nice. It was a very good lunch for those of you online. I'm sorry you didn't get to enjoy it. Oh, and drinks later, it sounds like. Fantastic. All right, so I kind of prepped you for this at the beginning of the meeting. We wanted to have you kind of see what office hours is like. So if you have a challenge in your org, if you have a question, it might be a flow question. Normally in a traditional office hours, you'd be able to share your screen and actually show us what some of the challenges is, and people would help you work through those. Those of you here can't do that. Those online, you could if you have something that you could show us in a sandbox, not in production, because you are streaming live. So be careful about that. If you have an issue, something that you have a question about that maybe the experts in the room could help you solve. Free to online, you can ask a question via chat. since we cannot hear you. So any questions in the room? I'm sure that you all have some kind of a challenge that you're facing. Any brave people? I'm new to something. We started for Salesforce. Please provide a few suggestions. Okay, so the question online is, hi Terry, I am new to Salesforce ecosystem. I am looking to start my career in Salesforce. Please provide a few suggestions for how to apply as a fresher. Are there any specific sites or Salesforce jobs? I've got my admin certification in March. Any suggestions would be appreciated. Any suggestions for somebody brand new looking for a job? Yeah, come to this group. That's what that's a suggestion in the room. Come to the group. Yeah. I think getting your admin certification personally is a big deal. I know that doesn't necessarily get you the experience that you maybe are looking for. A lot of times I hear the advice of connect with a nonprofit, because nonprofits are always looking for people to help them in their orgs. And if you've got the ability to do some volunteer work, that's a great way to get some experience. It also is a good way to get some exposure to and be able to kind of ramp up your resume. Have any other thoughts? Yeah. Oh, build your own app. Okay. Lots of heads nodding, building your own app. And what do you do with that app? Is that just, are you suggesting that's just a way of kind of getting practical experience? Okay. Okay, good. Very good. So the thought was, yeah, you could build an app and something practical that maybe you can use yourself, and that'd be a way of again, I think the idea is to try to beef up that resume to get it so that you're able to get some attention from those that are recruiting. You're hiring. What are you looking for an admin? Oh, that's a good thought. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so the thought was that maybe your entry level job might be more of a support role as opposed to an admin. So it might be that you're just looking to the type of job that you want to apply for might be a slightly different than than a full admin. Get in the door basically and prove your value that way. Good question. Any other questions or thoughts? Problems on your Salesforce apps? I'd really like to have something significant that can stump Stuart. That would be my goal. Yeah, Jeff.
It took me a little while to question, but so I work for a nonprofit where we aren't selling something, so we can't really force hard and fast rules on the data that we're collecting. And so when it comes to data integrity in processes, we live in the gray quite often. And one thing I struggle with a lot when designing a solution for my team is getting clear data input. So the response I get is when I ask what kind of information are you collecting? Is it always this? And the answer is almost always yes, except for these five things. And I'm just kind of curious, how do you work with a system that has fields and checkboxes in a reality that does not fit in a field or checkbox?
So the question online for those of you, Jeff was asking, and I'm going to summarize the question, is he receives data as a nonprofit from a variety of different sources, but he doesn't have control over really the quality of the data that's coming to him. What are some solutions or ways of working with that environment, that scenario? You got that one, Stuart? He's thinking. Yeah, Carla.
Reported, like, that's always the big question for they, right? Like, okay, if you can't agree on these set of, say, PIPLIS values, and you are, then book the business getting back on wanting a text field, then, okay, how are you like a report on that? How are you going to use this information? Okay, so I mean, it's just like, it's a conversation, right? It's a, where can you compromise, where can they compromise and get to a place where you all agree? So maybe we can have some tech skills that are great and some that are not, that they can kind of say, okay, in the grand scheme of things, the KPIs I'm meeting, I need things for this field because it's gonna be so much easier. And that's usually my feedback is that conversation of where can we meet in the middle? And even to the next step of that would be, okay, I can get these and have another with a rail validation rule, fill this in if it's other, you don't wanna do that all the time, that's not super great, but if you have to do it in certain instances.
Or even sometimes just multi-layered. We just did that recently with closed laws. Yeah, we changed everything to be like stage reason and then stage details so that with those certain things with values, reason, that's what we want these specific text values. We don't know what that needs to be. So, okay, when you pick one of these three values, stage reason, now you have to populate stage details. And we actually did that through a flow so that we can do all that validation in the flow instead of with validation. Yeah.
I know online it's really hard for you guys to hear that conversation, but basically the thought, I think, as I was capturing it, was leverage pick list that so that you have defined values for certain things. That was kind of the key piece that I was hearing. Think about the reports or think about what you have to do with that data so that you can determine what your requirements would be.
Specific use case of this, is what it is. Yeah, you have to solve it. You're not gonna hit every edge.
Yes.
You have to pick what's
Yeah.
gonna happen 80 to 90% of the time. That's what you're gonna solve for. And when the edge cases happen, they happen and I was like, okay, this I have to do manually, but everything else is I'm gonna streamline the process and things like this.
Yeah, so solve for the 80% rule.
That's good.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Speak my language. Yeah, it's difficult conversations sometimes.
Yeah, and it's hard to get the business to really get that, and they are very, this is how I want it done. And have to help them see that that doesn't mean it needs to be that way.
Yep.
But I have to think through that journey of, if we do this way, this is where you're gonna write up. Is that really where you, if we go this way, just painting a story, I think it's what really,
Think of how much time I can save you this way.
Yeah, I like what Carla just said. For those online is you need to be able I have found that you can technology is difficult for your business side of people to always understand. And so if you can talk to it from a story that they would understand. What was it, a couple years ago, we had one of the guys from Principal talk about being able to tell your story in technology. I have a presentation I do on storytelling as well. Yeah, you've got to you want to become very proficient at being able to tell the story, because that's the way that all your users are going to understand it.
And if you have a Mac, it was like sketch and really help because you can actually do like a mock-up without having to build it. So then you can even show them like, this is what your user experience becomes. As we move through those, like, I use that in storytelling and actually set it up so I can like click on the buttons and go with that work.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Other questions? Any other questions from those of you that are still online? Any in the room? You guys don't have any technical challenges? It's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Stuart's gonna come work in your place then. Right. Right. Very good. Doing good in the back row? Can you hear me back there even? Awesome. All right, very good. All right, that's it. For those of you online, thank you for coming. We're going to close the meeting, and then if you want to hang out here, for those in the room, feel free to hang out. Stuart, any last words before we take off?
Thanks for letting me visit with you.
Yeah.
Fire truck, provide